Oh, yeah, because I was on the.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Hackensack Public School Board of Education meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you. As we start our meeting tonight, let's pause to acknowledge that the Hackensack School District occupies the unceded ancestral lands of the Ramapo Muncie Lenape people. We are grateful to be able to learn, work, and gather today and we continue our commitment to support all underserved and undervalued members of our school community. As a reminder, please speak slowly tonight if you are involved in our meeting in any way, so that our translators and interpreters can keep up with us. All right. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in the record, posted at the board office, and filed with the city clerk. I hereby call to order the regular public meeting on July 24th, 2024 in the Hackensack High School Media Center at 6:20. Ms. Singh, will you please do a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Carroll,
Present.
Ms. Harris,
Present.
Mr. Martin,
Present.
Mr. Powell is not here.
Yep.
Wow,
Right on time.
I stand corrected. Mr. Powell is present. Ms. Springle,
Present.
Ms. Somerville,
Present.
Mr. Stein,
Present.
Ms. Cordero Alton,
Present.
Mr. James Vickery.
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. So we will start tonight with our presentations. We don't have a student report tonight since it's the summer. And we will move to Kelly Education Services.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Tressa. I'm an education sales consultant with Kelly Education. I'll try to speak slow. I'm joined with John Meekins, our regional director, and Karen Bednars, our on-site account manager for Hackensack. I'm a former special education teacher, so I'm familiar with school board meetings, but this is my first time presenting at one. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure working with Yesenia, Darius, and the whole team so far that we've met with and have been planning our rollout so far for substitute services. Today, we just want to review our plans to improve the management of substitutes and paraeducators at Hackensack. I'm happy to take any questions and be as transparent as possible at the end of the brief presentation. And hopefully everything is moving smoothly as well. Our goal is to become a strategic partner working alongside the district teams. We do this through a couple of reasons. We have dedicated management to Hackensack. Our on-site account manager who is here, Karen, will be the primary contact and the main person for day-to-day operations. She'll be responsible working with everyone from admin teams to the principals, to the substitutes and teachers, making sure everything is running smoothly. Along with that, she'll be the liaison to the rest of our teams at Hackensack. We have recruiting and onboarding teams responsible for filling roles. We have teams that are working in talent management and dealing with incidents and providing training and valuation for the school district and all of the substitutes as well. The most important piece of everything is the substitute teachers because it make the relationship between us and the district go. So what we do is also want to highlight the perks and benefits that we can offer that help us hire substitutes and make sure they're retained and still working. So any Kelly employees are eligible for benefits, healthcare, dental, vision, insurance, 401k. Substitutes and paraeducators also receive perk spot discounts through many national retailers, the same as any Kelly employee would receive. They're eligible for Substitute of the Year recognition awards through 4 different roles. And they also have extra incentives like weekly paychecks, the ability to work full-time hours, and other summer employment opportunities through Kelly services. Our goal, again, through everything is making this transition as easy as possible, and this process has already started. So all employees through this transition to Kelly will keep their frontline logins. All substitutes will keep the same logins that they've been using to make everything easy. None of that will change. We actually pick up the management costs for that as well to get a little bit of savings for the district. And all the Kelly new hires and transitions have all of the resources at their fingertips through mykelly.com. That's where they'll be able to figure out any answers to questions about those discounts, any contact information for who they report to, any of their trainings, and anything to deal with frontline and other opportunities along with Kelly. A couple quick updates that we received this week. Last week was the first week that we had went live with our transition plan, getting out in the community for Hackensack. So we had already, a couple of numbers, 2 current Kelly substitutes who'd worked in elsewhere districts expressed their interest in joining and working at Hackensack. We've also successfully transitioned 17 substitutes already previously working, now enrolled in Kelly and ready to work in the fall, and have hired within the first week 4 net new substitutes to add to the pool. We also completed 1 grassroots recruiting day in the community. We have 2 more scheduled upcoming, and have worked with 20 community organizations and businesses, going out to those businesses, establishing ourselves with signage, community just activism, placing things in places such as libraries or businesses or highly trafficked areas to try and get more people to sign up and be out there. I also included on the slide 2 different takeaways there and testimonials from some transitioned employees. So we had someone call in needing help transitioning, said that everyone is saying that they like working with Kelly versus a competitor. As they tried to speak with someone there previously, they were treated like a number. They've been treated more like people here. And then Richard Moradian, I believe, expressed deep gratitude for Kelly, highlighting the help he got from Morgan and its onboarding team, noted how they made a typically daunting transition period quick and seamless. Again, we want to make sure that everyone who comes in to a school district at Hackensack as a substitute or paraeducator is properly trained, vetted, and has the right clearances and compliance. So we have a multitude of pre-hire trainings that we make sure everyone has taken before hire. Also, post-hire trainings. If there's anyone needing additional trainings that are provided through the district, we work with the district as well to make sure that everyone has what they need. And those are all available online or through webinars that we can provide. The biggest difference potentially going forward is our MPP program, which stands for Managed Paraeducator Program. So Kelly Education will be being the employer of record for paraeducators going forward at Hackensack, meaning that the empty vacancies for paraeducators will be filled by our team. We'll recruit them, screen them, hire them, and work with the district to make those placements as those roles open up. There'll also be options for anyone that was currently working in a position to transition as a Kelly employee as long as they're in good standing with the district. So no one will be losing a job or anything changing in that regard. And this way, it's really helpful for the district as you can consolidate positions instead of using multiple providers in the special services department. We'll just be using one entity to find these people for the roles and hire them and manage them. So it's not just scrambling and looking for positions throughout other areas. We could also help with different issues from, I won't go through everything, but you can easily share this with everyone, but payroll, offering benefits and pension, making sure that everyone has the proper background checks and clearances. We also touched on the trainings earlier, but we can continue those trainings ongoing as paraeducators need more professional development. And we do the evaluations of our paraeducators as well as the management, handling all incidents and tracking all absences through the frontline services. This is program has been successful, not only in the state, but across the country. We have 4 districts that are currently using this MPP program as well in full of providing all their paraeducator staff. And we find that the fill rates for these positions are high because of the training that's offered, because of the hands-on approach, because of the everyday jobs. So these are not substitutes, but full-time employees of Kelly working with the district through a partnership. That is what I have to present so far. So we're looking forward to a successful partnership with Hackensack. Everything so far has been great and off to a great start. I'm happy to take any other questions. John is also here to help answer anything as well. And I can open that up now if that works for the board.
Yep.
Sorry.
So you said that you would do professional development training for the paraprofessionals. What types of training? Can you give me an example of what type of training you would give them?
Yeah, absolutely. So any new hires for Kelly Education, if they're new, or even the transition, as I think we talked about, would go through a Class Smarts and Parasmarts trainings, which are online trainings. It's a course we have to take. It's about 3.5 hours of and you have to pass a test at the end of it, kind of going through everything you need to know to become a substitute teacher or a paraeducator. So it goes through all the pieces that cover safe touch guidelines, mandated reporter trainings, everything that is kind of responsible or that's covered through the New Jersey Department of Education. They have to be able to take that and then pass a course before they can even be placed in. So we want to make sure that everyone has all the capabilities where that's not coming kind of into this blind and they know what's expected of the schools.
So this is more for new hires only, not for paras that have already been in our district prior to?
Yeah, so we've talked about this through our previous meetings where if I think we're starting fresh with everyone, making sure that everyone has the trainings.
Mhm.
If people have already passed them or they can get like waivers written off, or if you have documentation for trainings, we can allow those. But for the most part, I think we were looking to offer it to everyone that's transitioning over, just so we make sure that everyone is compliant.
Okay, and how often do you see on an average for a para educator to be trained? So is it every year? Is it twice a year? What is the average?
So the managed paraeducators in the positions that are working every day have multiple trainings per year. So there's yearly training that they stay up on, depending on the role. So the trainings do vary if they're in a role that's just a general ed 1-to-1 compared to an autism role or a behavioral role. Those are different trainings. Those trainings are yearly for those roles, and those paraeducators are also evaluated. So if there are areas that we see that they're lacking in, or if there are any questions brought up by administrators or teachers where they need more support, we could additionally offer those more. But for the most part, it's yearly, multiple based upon what their roles are. I can get into specifics more as like with certain roles, but
So
Through the chair, I serve on our Budget and Finance Committee. The training, is that an expense that you absorb or is that billable to the district?
So I believe there's the original training for all staff that are transitioned for us are things that are picked up by Kelly Education. So when we're hiring people, you're not being billed for any of that. The trainings that are specific for specific roles for the district are typically just paid there and billed either on we handle them on a PD day where the substitutes, well, the paraeducators that are here working all time, they would be here anyway. So we're trying to schedule on days that they would need to be here for PD days. So they would be billable.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And so from what I heard, and I'm signing a lot of this,
Sorry.
there's going to be an on-site person,
Yes.
and then also Kelly Services evaluates the paras.
So through that same thing, we have an MPP, paraeducator specialist, and that person is responsible for designing the trainings, the evaluations, and that piece. So they're working in conjunction. The on-site person can deliver those. It comes from our MPP specialist who designs all of the training, provides those, but it will be delivered through your on-site liaison who's handling everything. That would be basically the person who is responsible for everything from Hackensack through Kelly, kind of acting as the liaison. That makes sense. Sorry.
Is that supervisor or that liaison, is that person BCBA trained? Are they a BCBA or are they just familiar with special education?
Your, the person that delivers all of that is former special education director for a school district. I'd have to double check them if it's a BCBA trained, but I know that she's qualified to deliver those trainings, and like builds the online curriculum from the experience in special education field.
Any other questions? From the board? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. All right. Then up next, we have our Assistant Superintendent, Miss Rosemary Marks, who will be talking about our graduation proficiency results.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody here from the public. I'm here on behalf of my colleague, Miss Andrea Parchment, to share the NJ GPA results, which are our graduation proficiency assessment results for the 2024 spring administration. A little background on the NJ GPA. It's required state assessments that are administered to all grade 11 students. By grade 11, we have to determine their graduation proficiency levels. At different times, though, assessments include Algebra 1 and geometry, which may be taken prior to 11th grade. It is designed to measure the extent to which students are prepared to be graduation ready in both English language arts and mathematics. And the graduation readiness component is reported separately for ELA and for math. The ELA component is aligned to grade 10 standards. And as I shared earlier, mathematics is aligned to Algebra 1 and geometry standards. The NJ GPA follows the New Jersey State Board of Education's adoption of the proficiency level cutoff score. So the cutoff score that we're using for these assessments that I'm sharing the results of with you today was established last year. For students who do not meet the minimum required score on each component, the ELA and or math, students have additional opportunities to get support and to retake the assessments. So students may have an opportunity to retake the ELA and or the mathematics components. And they must meet a designated cut score from a menu of substitute competency tests, or they may also complete a portfolio, which we call the portfolio appeal. This slide here shows you our 2024 participation rate. So for ELA, 93% of our students participated. And for math, there was 96% participation rates. This is a comparison of 2023 to 2024 readiness results. As you can see, for ELA in 2024, we were at 82% graduation ready versus 80% in 2023, which reflects an increase of 2%. In mathematics, we are only at 30%, unfortunately, representing a 4% decrease from the 34% readiness rate of 2023. A further breakdown compares the district to the state averages. For ELA, our 82% graduation ready for this year matches the 82% graduation ready rate for the state. So we are right there with the state in ELA, which reflects an 18% not yet graduation ready in 11th grade. For mathematics, again, those numbers are obviously stark, and we are at 30% versus 55% with the state. making us 70% not yet graduation ready. A further breakdown is by demographic subgroup in race. And as you could see here, our subgroups span from Asian to Hispanic to Black and white. And there's clearly a lot of work we need to do spanning Hispanic, Black, and white subgroups. By program, we have the first bar graph represents economically disadvantaged students. The second ELL, or our MLs as we call them, are multilinguals and bilingual students. Moving along, the IEP are for our students with individualized education plans, our special ed students, our 504 students, and our gen ed students. And yes, we do need to look and dig a little deeper at the results for 504. We would like the bar graphs for the other subgroups to be closer to 504, with the green bar graph being higher across the board. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, now for our superintendent's report.
Just a question.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Ms. Marks, what is in place to help those students in the math component?
So at this time, we also have readiness courses in math that students are taking. And there are other on-course and digital tutorial courses that are made available to students. They have been made available already, so clearly that is not enough, Mr. Stein. And that's the work we are doing now to plan for additional targeted action plans to support student learning. If I may go off track for a little bit, I had the privilege of attending Unbound Ed last week. And one of the things I'd like to share is these high school results are not owned by the high school. They are owned by all of us, kindergarten, pre-K through 12th grade. Ms. Somerville was there with us. And in that conversation, I will tell you that I am committed to making sure and working with all of our principals to making sure that every teacher in every classroom with IEPs, in a bilingual or multilingual plan, to ensure grade level standards are being taught. We will not accept, and dare I say, embrace, which I think we've done in the past, excuses for why grade level standards are not being taught. So grade level standards teaching starting in kindergarten will be a game changer for us in addressing these results.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying the summer and trying to stay cool. I have two quick announcements. This coming Friday, the Summer Literacy and the Yoga program will have their Student Expo taking place at 10:30 a.m. at Jackson Avenue School. So we are inviting everyone to come out and be a part of this SEL experience that our students have engaged in this summer, as well as engage in some yoga. As well as the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lower Bergen County will have the last day of their program on Friday from 9:30 to 12 p.m. at the Hackensack Middle School, where they'll have a carnival theme, asking people to come out and enjoy the festivities that will have treats, games, as well as a bouncy house. So we are ending our summer programs with a bang.
When is that?
This Friday.
Friday.
This Friday. And so my report is rather short today, so I'll just be transitioning right over to our actual enrollment numbers. We currently have 5,170 students totaled at the end of the year. And it showed the attendance rate from the last board meeting until the end of school was at 99.99%. As it relates to our residency report, there were 3 cases that were received in June. Our year-to-date was 51. Out of those 3 cases in June, 0 were verified. But we had a year-to-date verified of 19 students. There were 3 homes unverified in June as well, bringing our total for the year to 32. In terms of our HIB for the month of June 14th till now, we had approximately 5 total, and 5 of those HIB investigations were unfounded. That concludes the superintendent report.
All right. Now it is time for our public comments. The board not only welcomes your comments, but wants to hear them. All participants must sign in, please. When it is your turn, please state the following: your name, your municipality, any group that you might be affiliated with, and if you list more than one, please clarify from which you are speaking from today. Each person has a limit of 3 minutes. Please direct all comments to me as the presiding officer, and all responses that are appropriate to be responded to will be held to the end of the public comments portion. We're ready.
Good evening, Kasim Gaines, proud president of the HEA. Happy summer. I just met with Dr. McBride the other day and I said, I'm thankful that we are still in the upswing of summer and not yet on the downswing. I do want to address a few things on behalf of the members just from the beginning of the meeting. First, I do want to acknowledge the scores and just echo and expand upon something that Ms. Marks said. The scores are all of us, and it is all of us as in not just K through 12. It is curriculum, it is principals, it is parents, it is students, it is all of us together. And so I just want to make sure that when we're having an expansive view of who all of us are, all of us are all of us that bear responsibility for our scores. I also wanted to raise questions about, concerns about the Kelly education presentation, because while I was listening, I was also reading, and I'm confused or would love some explanation as to Kelly Education's role or the need for them to hire full-time paraeducators when that is something that is covered by this district. I'm confused about why they need to provide professional development on our PD days when, if you look through our agenda, we spend a lot of money on professional development, and why we need to have more provided by Kelly Education. I'm confused by it sounds like what will become 2 classes of paraeducators, where some will receive some training through Kelly and some will receive some training through the district, unless I'm mistaken by that. So I would just like some clarification, and it wasn't lost on me that one of the things on the slide as a benefit for the paraeducators to sign up with Kelly was not being required to pay union dues was seen as a benefit. So I just want to be very clear that there are benefits to being a part of a union beyond just paying dues. Of course, there is protection in terms of when there's discipline, in terms of salary negotiations, in terms of breaks and things like that. So I just want to be mindful of that as this new entity seems to be, the word takeover was in the presentation. That's not my word, it was in the presentation. I also just wanted to ask about policy 0164. That is about the setting of the agenda. The agenda is still not clearly posted on the district website, and there is actually a policy that outlines the agenda. So my question, the agenda order, it's policy 0164, it's spelled out, and it's not the agenda that we are following tonight or that we have been following. So I would just like for us to review that policy if it's a permanent change or revert back to the previous agenda. Thank you.
It's on the agenda to change tonight.
Right, okay.
Good evening, everybody. Tony Jackson, Hackensack parent. Recently, I requested a transfer for my daughter from Fairmount School, where she's zoned, to Nellie K. Parker School. We eventually received a response from the superintendent denying our request without addressing or acknowledging any of the concerns I detail. My concerns included adverse action taken against both my wife and I for typical participation within the school community as Fairmount parents. My wife being banned from her leadership position with the Fairmount Girl Scout Troop, a volunteer activity. Of course, the impact of all of this on our daughter in a number of ways and more. I was told that he was unable to allow the request in order to ensure equity and consistency in enrollment in the district. I note that transfers have been granted as past practice for years without negative consequences to the district. I mentioned this and he stated, "I'm unaware of what occurred before me, so I cannot speak to how those instances you referred to occurred." In less than 30 minutes of receiving another email explaining our situation in detail, our request was denied a second time. I asked that the email correspondence be shared with the entire board. Ms. Cordero Outen responded, which I appreciated, and expressed something similar, stating there are policies in place. Unfortunately, I cannot confirm what was done prior to today or why. I'm only basing on what should be done per policy. So I read the policy as my wife suggested. District Policy 5120 states, students shall generally attend the school located in the attendance area of their residence. The superintendent may assign a student to the school other than that designated by the attendance area when such an exception is justified by circumstances and/or is in the best interest of the student. There's a mechanism currently in place for transferring a student when it's in the best interest of the child. If equity is the issue, you could establish and communicate clear criteria for what constitutes a student's best interest or need and make determinations based on each family and student situation. Equitably exercise the discretionary use of the exception, but don't ignore it. I want to know what factors were weighed in determining that it would be in the best interest of our child to deny our request. Why was input from her parents left out of that decision? I believe that you should know something about my daughter or any student before deciding what's best for them in such a situation. Further, families should not have to be lawyers or detectives when they are seeking help from the district. We are asking for the third time that our request be considered based on the policy of the district, our situation, and the best interest of our child. Thank you.
So that concludes our.
My name is Young Lewis. I'm from Hackensack. I have been noticed that that you're changing the middle school from 5-6 to 7-8 again. Why?
This is public comment. It's not a back and forth, sir.
Excuse me?
It's not a back and forth. You'll just state what your comment is.
But you already had it where it worked out fine the other way. You already did it. And you had two good principals that worked in that school, and you're turning around and hired another principal, which you claim every time you need stuff done in the schools, you don't have no money. All of a sudden, you come up with the money. Now, where is this? You got 4 schools, okay, that are not safe for kids. But yet, you turn around, but you can hire a principal when you had 2 good principals if you would have left it alone. The other thing is, Hiller's school, okay, why do you need a platform for kids to go up and down stairs that are little kids, and you got a plug on the bottom step that you shouldn't even have there? And you people are passing things around that you shouldn't even be doing. If you don't know the rules, I think you ought to find out about it. Because that's ridiculous that you're turning around and having a school go back the way it was when you found out it didn't work the first time. So why are you doing it again? Anybody? Nobody got to say?
This is public comments.
No, it's not a public comment. The whole thing comes down is that you're doing things to make things easier instead of turning around and leave things alone. That's the problem. You people got 4 schools that are dangerous with kids, okay, that you're not even doing anything else because you hired a principal, okay, instead of leaving things alone. Anybody? Nobody? Boy, you people are great.
Anybody else? All right, that's the end of our public comments portion. All right. Be it resolved that the Hackensack Board of Education determines it necessary to meet in executive session on Wednesday, July 24th, to discuss legal, personnel, student-related matters, HIV reports, negotiations, and other confidential matters. And be it further resolved that these matters will be made public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Can I have a motion to move into executive session? Thank you, Ms. Somerville. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then, all right, it is
6:54.
6:54. We'll do our best to be back in an hour.
Like, okay.
We will start with our resolutions and first we need to approve our minutes from previous meetings. Be it resolved that the Hackensack Board of Education approves the regular meeting minutes and executive session minutes of June 19th, 2024 and retreat meeting minutes of July 8th, 2024. Can I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Powell. A second?
Second.
Thank you. I saw Ms. Somerville first. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Any-
I do abstain
Okay,
from
from
the June meeting.
the regular meeting.
Yes.
We have an abstention from Ms. Harris.
I was absent.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes, that would be me too.
Okay. And then, and Mr.
Absent.
Carroll was absent from that meeting as well. All right, and then any opposed to those minutes? There are none. All right. So now we are going to move to personnel, and Ms. Cordero Outen will give us an explanation. So everybody turn your listening ears on, as my first grade teacher said.
Should I explain it first and then go through the resolution?
yeah.
Right, okay. So originally there was one personnel agenda. It was about 41 pages long. The items on that agenda that have now since been removed were the original items classified as JJ and KK. Let me get you that page.
14.
The original.
Yeah,
14.
Yeah, what page?
Hold on, we're getting there. Yep, they got it. 14. So original JJ and KK have been removed, the original. So that ran you all the way through to pages 41. But now 41 pages, MM and NN are the new JJKK.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're no longer running through NN, we're only running through KK.
Gotcha.
And LL. JK.
So JJ.
Yes, and LL,
KK,
sorry about
and
that.
LL. LL is on the original page 38.
Yes, so the original agenda, JJ, KK, and LL removed. Now replaced with new JJ and KK, which were MM and NN.
Okay.
The motion on that,
Go.
since it's on the record.
Okay,
That would be the motion, right?
Yes. So that what you just heard is the motion. Because I don't think I can hear that again. So I do. So Ms. Cordero Outen has made a very
complex.
articulate and complex motion. Can I have a second for someone who understood that motion?
I second.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ms. Harris because I do know that she figured that out. So can we do a roll call, please, Ms. Singh, for that motion?
Okay, Mr. Carroll,
Yes to everything except anything
I'm
that
sorry.
has to do with paras. I'll have to abstain.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
very quickly before we continue, Ms. Singh, could you speak into the microphone? Because
oh,
there's been times when I've listened to the audio when we can't
you
really
can't
hear.
hear me, okay.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we're voting on the motion to,
For
But she's- yes,
Okay,
to clarify for you.
yes, yes,
Okay, so Mr. Carroll,
yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Ms. Pringle,
Yes.
Ms. Somerville,
Yes.
Mr. Stein,
Yes,
Ms. Cordero Alton,
Yes.
Mr. James Vickery,
Yes,
motion passes.
all right.
Now I'll keep on with this.
Yes,
Yes,
Well, no, personnel, like still go through it saying AA through KK. We just motioned to accept.
Right.
Get rid of and accept, I thought,
Right.
right?
That's good.
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Got it.
That's the motion for approval.
Yes, okay, so now we are motioned to accept the recommendations of the superintendent to approve and adopt motions A1 through KK. And I would like to highlight specifically O, that our paras came and they were heard and things happened. And there are new rates effective September 1st. So I would like to highlight that little bit right there. So the motion to take action on personnel matters as listed. Go.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Cordero Outen has made a motion. Can I have a second? Ms. Somerville Can we do a roll call, please?
Sure. Mr. Carroll,
Yes to everything except anything dealing with powers, I abstain.
okay. Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Ms. Pringle,
Yes.
Ms. Somerville,
Yes.
Mr. Stein,
Yes.
Ms. Cordero Alton,
Yes.
Mr. James Vickery.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Thank you for that. Moving on
Policy.
to policy.
So policy, we did have several updates, majority of them, again, as I mentioned to the trustees, were mandatory. There was a question with regards to policy number P0141 not being out on the district site. I am assuming that this is an oversight and the original will be up there, and then if the new revised one is approved, it will be added. Again, that was P0141, but we each should have gotten a copy of what was sent for the revision request.
Oh, P.
So be it resolved that the Hackensack Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent for the following policy, there are B1, and I would say that there are about 10 of them that are going to be first time reads. And then there is B2 finally. So to Mr. Gaines's point, B20164, this is a revision and the second read of the conduct at a board meeting, which would also then ensure to change that we are now using the current agenda for the board meetings.
And just for clarity, there are 13 in the first reads. 13. All right, can Ms. Cordero made a motion? Can I have a
I'm
second?
sorry, I would like to table. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yes, okay. Yo,
I would like to table P0141.
all right, so we have a motion on the table to, a motion to table P0141 from trustee Harris. So can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Martin, trustee Martin seconded that. So now we need to do a roll call.
Discussion.
Oh, yes, sorry, my bad, discussion.
Perfect.
Would you like to offer reasoning?
Sure, yes, so the policy 0141, there's not information on it. It says that the board members section is blank. The term section is also blank. I would like to receive at least from council or, a memo that states first, how many board members do we have officially? And the terms, because I don't think it's right for us to vote on something that's blank.
I agree. And to be honest with you, I wasn't provided those policies before the meeting.
Okay.
But whenever I've seen this happen in boards before, I've said that you don't just put Strauss estimate policies out with the blanks in it. Don't vote on something with blanks. So yes, if there are, then.
So with that as
Concur.
well, thank you. So with that, it's also P0141.2. That one's also the same. They're also blank.
Hold on, we're gonna bring those up.
So you're combining
Can I combine the two to table together?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so I would like to table 0141 and 0141.2. Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trustee Martin.
Can we have those discussed now or no?
Is there, no, we're still in the discussion period. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on that?
I have to go back. I didn't see a blank, but I'll look again. I may have missed.
It's a full line. It's a full blank line.
I'll go back and check it. Yes.
I feel like we have people who are.
I mean, I have it right here.
Ms. Marks, would you, so we're gonna call an expert. We have that ability to do that.
I'd be happy to do that. And I'm not sure, I was
Can
just
you
trying
make
to
sure
log
you're
in to
on a
see what was
microphone?
posted.
Wanna-
Yes, I
We're
was
gonna get
trying to log in to see what was posted on
Have a
our
seat. You don't-
website.
You don't have to.
I'll just want to go around because this is what was submitted for posting
When
Our-
was that?
today. So 9 members on the board and we
Because I'm
hear.
like, "True?" There wasn't information
sure.
there.
But
I don't know what.
We didn't get it. You're right.
9 members
They
and
didn't get
3.
I mean,
and
looked and looked.
with the sending districts, it was 10 members and it's still 3 years term, depending on their appointments, but,
And that was sent to us?
it gets posted on the website.
Oh, on the
And this
website.
was on the, yes, on the
Okay.
website for the final update, because, I was away last week and did not participate in the board meeting, so
Gotcha.
if you would like, I would,
We'll go ahead and table it and then we'll go
Yes.
ahead and bring it back.
thank
Yeah.
you.
All right.
Because I'm like, I checked it. I know I saw information there. That's why I was like, I gotta go look again.
All right. So any other, this is not,
Thank you, Mark.
this is not a policy that is gonna necessarily, impact anything between now and August, so we can absolutely table it,
Not
make
in-
sure that we have all the
Yeah,
information that
it's
everybody
not-
feels
not an
comfortable
issue.
with. So, any other discussion that we want to have on that?
Mm-mm.
So we'll move forward. So this is just about tabling P 141 and P 141.2.
Mhm.
Ms. Singh, will you,
Do a roll
a
call?
roll call?
Yeah, Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Oh, I am so sorry.
Yes, to
Can
table.
I just also, I forgot, B2, I would like to table B2 as well.
Okay,
Well,
that's gonna be a separate motion because
Yeah,
it's,
you already have a motion on the table.
and it's.
Oh,
You can.
okay,
we're
yes,
not-
thank you for the reminder.
That's
So,
exclusive
yes, I would like
of
to
that.
table the items, thank you.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Okay, just for me to be clear, Ms. Harris, you're voting to table P 141 and P 141.2.
Correct, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Martin voted yes.
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yeah.
Ms. Pringle?
Yes.
Ms. Somerville?
Yes.
Mr. Stein?
Yes, to table.
Ms. Cordero Alton?
Yes,
Mr. James Vickery?
Yes,
So tabled.
okay, thank you.
I would also like to table item B2, which is policy 0164, the conduct of the board meeting.
All right, so trustee Harris has asked to table, I want to say 0164, conduct of board meetings.
Yes,
And that's where the agenda, well, we'll talk about it in a second. So can I have a second to have that, if we want to table that? If we have a second from Mr. Stein now, we can open that up for discussion.
the order that the current board, it does not reflect on what is being proposed. So the agenda that we have right now doesn't have new or old business. Public comments is before everything. Once again, I don't agree with having public comments in the beginning of the meeting. I think it should still be how it used to be before, where it was after our executive session.
Any other discussion?
I prefer the public comment to come before, because a lot of times the people don't want to be here. We extend over side of executive session. It runs too long. And a lot of times these guys are coming from work, some people are logging on. Miss Story comes here and if she has to get up to the mic, to have to sit here and wait for 1 hour, 2 hours or what, because we're conducting business is not fair to them.
Mhm.
And I think also it gives us an opportunity if, depending on what is being discussed, right, to have some time to think about it, you can come back out to be able to have you guys provide an answer, being that it waits until the end, and then it kind of drags out for people to be here to have that conversation, right? It makes the meeting way longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
So I think public comment before, and then we can go back and spend as much time as we need, if we need extra time, to do board business. But it doesn't keep our people here waiting.
Mr. Stein?
And again, the reason why I second that is I think that the public portion, again, after we get out of the executive session, should be strictly on the agenda, not on general issues that could be before. But this gives people an opportunity, maybe they didn't notice something about policy that maybe we should have. So it gives them an opportunity to at least comment on the agenda items. And again, keeping to the 3 minutes.
Any other comments? Trying to keep it.
I just
trying to
want
keep it
clarification.
Remember, okay.
So I just want
This is-
clarification. Do you want two public
So this is
comments
not
or
really,
just
this is not really.
moving to one to?
This is not really, so this is kind of murky waters because this is not really a debate about public comments. This is about the conduct of a board
Board
meeting.
meeting.
And so, I mean, like the current.
The
back-
structure.
the-
Structure.
Right,
Structure.
so I'm trying to
Okay.
stick within Robert's rules.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm trying to,
The motion that's on the table.
right,
Is
it's
the
the table.
It, and there's discussion revolving around why
Why is she-
people want to have it or not have it tabled. But the motion is to table. it. So that's what the vote would be on.
Yeah.
To table it. Then if it passes, if it doesn't pass, then, then you go to the motion, or you don't go to the resolution.
So I mean, if we table it, it would go back to,
Curriculum.
no,
Personnel.
policy.
Policy, sorry, policy.
And just to clarify, let me go over what the order is, because this is actually a request for approving the second read. You were out last month for it, so that's understandable. The order of business, as we've been currently doing it since January, which is what we now want to ensure is in the policy as the way that it's being conducted. It's all we're doing is roll call, announcement notice, flag salute, special presentations, student representatives report, superintendent's report, public comment, which again, this has been changed now since January, executive session, approval of minutes, board agenda and committee reports, which would go through what we've already been doing, which is personnel policy, curriculum, finance, buildings and grounds, community relations. What we asked is that old business, the old business be removed. New business, board comments, and then adjournment. So those are the items that are on the new order of business that we've been doing now since January. So you can then decide properly if you want to motion to table as trustee Harris has suggested.
So any other discussion about the structure or the order of the agenda?
Yes, I have one.
Yes, sir.
Why was old business removed? Just curious.
Because apparently it doesn't exist
It's
in
not a-
Robert's.
It's not a
rules.
thing.
It's not a thing.
Okay.
Robert's rules doesn't have old business.
Apparently Hackensack BOE made it up. So we're just correcting it. So the motion is there. Who would like to second that motion?
No, it's been seconded.
Oh, it's been
So
seconded.
now we have.
So can we
It's
just
seconded.
vote
Is there-
to see?
Well,
if
so
we
now,
just
now,
table it?
any other discussion before we close that? All right, so Ms. Singh, will you do a roll call, please?
Sure, Mr. Carroll,
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. This is to motion to
This is
table,
Table.
the table.
Table.
Thank
A
you.
vote
Table
yes
two.
is to table it.
Thanks.
A vote of no is to not table it. So we're all clear.
Thank you.
okay, vote to table, Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
So yes to table. Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
No. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you vote.
No. Thank you.
Ms. Pringle,
Yes.
Ms. Somerville,
No.
Mr. Stein,
Yes, to table.
okay, Ms. Goodyear Alton,
No.
Mr. James Vickery.
No.
Okay, so we have 4 no's.
It's a tie.
It's
So
tie.
I'm sorry, so council, can you just remind us really just to clarify, for something like this, what is needed? Is it majority? Is it, are we a board of 10, 9?
We're a board of 10 currently. However, on a motion like this, you don't need the majority of the 10, you just need 5 on this.
Okay,
So we got-
so it passed.
So,
Could
no,
pass.
it fails. It
So
fails,
it
because
was-
I only
what-
have 4 no's.
Okay, so is
No,
there,
what you need a yes for it to table.
You got 5.
you got 5 yeses.
We got.
So it, Right, so it passed.
There are five
That's what we
votes.
said, it passed, it's tabled.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
She's saying
Okay.
no.
Okay, motion to table passes.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, you have five.
So is there an issue now, since we're told that the agenda, we just tabled the agenda to update what so what happens now?
Mhm.
Because we're not in compliance, so
Well,
this is.
We'll deal with that before the next meeting.
Yes, let's move on.
What we're doing with every.
Exactly, and Mr. Gaines, that was literally just one of the
Okay.
points that he was making.
So that's the point sometimes that I guess we're entitled to, but I don't understand. All we voted was to keep never mind.
How do we go
Okay.
about finding out how to proceed then, like to identify exactly why it was tabled and correct it?
We'll go back to the policy committee, but to the question of the order of the meeting, you had previously put forth a motion to temporarily follow this agenda. We codified it in policy. That's what this was for. So there was a motion in January to follow that order, which was until the policy was codified. That's why the policy came before you. So you would have to, at the next meeting, make a motion then
To
in terms
untable.
of the order, if you want to keep the order this way, or
But just to be clear, board attorney, that when it came in January, board trustees were not made aware of this change until we sat here at the table to make a motion, not understanding the format was being
and you have
being
an oppor-
moved.
and now you have a chance to do
So,
that.
right, so now that it's formally done, I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't here last month, so, I see this now as a second read, I think it's an issue.
Okay, yeah, and then go back to policy. You guys can decide what you want to do.
That's fine,
Okay.
thank you.
All right.
And so how long can we stay out of compliance at this point?
You're not out of compliance.
Oh, good, okay.
No, you're not out of compliance. Because as I said, you were following something that was done in January by board approval. Now this is tabled, so at the next meeting, it's tabled, so it's still in effect the way you modified it in January, to be honest with you. You don't have to take any further action, because there was board action to change that agenda in January, which you've been following. The policy was gonna codify that. It's going back to policy now. But you don't have to take any further action to follow this agenda until the policy committee comes back to the board and the board votes on it. That's it. That's it.
Next. Understand,
Mhm.
okay.
Okay, so
So we can just let it hang, essentially. Okay, good, thank you.
So now now we're gonna take a vote. So now we have tabled P 0141,
Mhm.
P 0141.2 and under B2, second read 0164. So we are gonna vote on everything else.
Yes.
Right.
So excluding those three items, a yes vote will be for everything else except for those three items.
Correct.
All right, so I need a motion for everything else. So Mr. Powell, thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Carroll, thank you. And a roll call, please.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes,
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Ms. Pringle,
yes.
Ms. Somerville? Yes. Mr. Stein,
Yes.
Ms. Cordero Alton,
Yes.
Mr. James Vickery,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, moving on to curriculum, trustee Martin.
Yes, I like to make a motion, C1 through C28. And I'll highlight the following items, starting with C8. Approve the revised from the May 22nd, 24 agenda. Lease agreement with the Apple Education for an iPod intended for pre-K and a pilot intended for kindergarten for the 24-25 school year. The total cost is not to exceed $215,505.80. Also, highlight C10 to approve the memoranda of understanding MOU between Fairleigh Dickinson University and the Hackensack Public Schools to participate in the university pre-Colgate STEM Discovery Program for the 24-25 school year. Also, C11, approve a partnership collaboration with the Bergen County Tech School to provide an after-school enrichment program for up to 75 selected sixth, seventh, and eighth grade students to take place at the Bergen County Academy campus for the 24-25 school year. And also, there's no cost for this program. For C12, approve the proposal between the Liberty Science Center STEAM Education and Hackensack Middle School to provide professional development to open the science education curriculum to the all sixth, seventh, and eighth grade science teachers in the Hackensack Middle School during the 24-25 school year. The total cost is not to exceed $4,200. And last, to C19, to approve an agreement with William Patterson University to provide professional development service through the professional and residence program for the district preschool program. The cost not to exceed $18,000 will be paid with preschool education aid funds. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, trustee Martin. He's made a motion for us. Can I have a second? Mr. Powell, thank you. Let's do a roll call.
I
Mr.
do-
Karen,
Oh, I'm sorry, discussion, my bad, thank you.
I do have a question for the people who attended the professional development at Unbound Ed. When should we expect to get the turnkey, the explanation for the rest of members, teachers, staff?
So that will happen this year. They're also going to be presenting at the opening convocation that's happening in September.
And how about for board trustees?
And that you will, on a date that is,
presenting with the group. It's one presentation for everybody. Everybody will see the same thing at the same time.
But not trustees.
I'll be presenting with
Here?
the team that went, yes.
Oh,
we'll
here,
present
during a
here.
board meeting.
Everybody will see our-
Okay, thank you.
we'll Present you.
Thank
The
you.
same presentation that we give will be given here. It's only one presentation.
Perfect. Thanks.
and this partner has already provided the presentation. So I've looked at it.
Nice. Thank you. That was it.
Mr. President, just a question on C11. How did the students get from the middle school to the academies?
Mr. Martin?
I don't know. I'm not sure on that.
Transportation will be provided. We're gonna get them in.
I'm sorry?
Transportation will be provided. We'll get them.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Discussion, questions, comments? All right, so we have first and a second. Let's take a roll call.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
Ms. Pringle,
Yes.
Ms. Somerville.
Yeah.
Mr. Stein,
Yes.
Ms. Cordero Alton,
Yes.
Mr. James Vickery,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, moving on to finance, Mr. Carroll?
Yes, I make a motion to move D1 through D8, highlighting B5, which is a safety grant for risk reduction projects and to improve safety.
All right,
Where does the calendar fall in? Because it says D.
all right.
Facility. Got it. Pay attention.
Where did the calendar fall in?
It's listed as D here.
It was not put up to be voted on here because it was just a discussion. It
Okay.
was supposed to be for discussion.
Yep, perfect. So we'll wait till that falls. So we have a motion by Mr. Carroll. Can I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Somerville. Any discussion on finance?
So, I'm sorry, so calendar is not part of that.
Not tonight.
No.
It's not on the official agenda, so when it does come up, then we can
Oh, so do we still discuss about the dates?
it's not on the agenda, so no, not tonight.
For next
No?
month? This is.
It should come up.
We'll do it at the committee meeting. This was just to presented to the board so that you'd be prepared?
We could do it under new business if,
Yeah,
if
or-
someone makes a motion to,
Oh, well, yeah, you could do it, new business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the, I mean, when, yeah, all the motion, the resolutions.
Yes.
Okay. So, roll call, Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Ms. Pringle,
Yes.
Ms. Somerville,
Yes.
Mr. Stein,
Yes.
Ms. Cordero Alton,
Yes.
Mr. James Vickery,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, moving on to buildings and grounds, Ms. Farrell again.
Yes, I make a motion to move E1 through E13. Highlighting E3 through E6, which are waivers for the toilets and the bathrooms of some of our pre-K and kindergarten classrooms for the 2024-2025 school year. And E12 was a grant for menstrual products district-wide.
We have a motion for Mr. Carroll. Can I get a second? Mr. Stein, thank you. Any discussion around any of those items in facilities and finance? Not facilities and finance, buildings and grounds, my bad. All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
Ms. Pringle,
Yes.
Ms. Somerville,
Yes.
Mr. Stein,
Yes.
Ms. Cordero Alton,
Yes.
Mr. James Vickery,
Yes,
motion passes.
all right. Ms. Harris, on community relations. I
Yes.
know it's winding down for the summer, but
It is. So, so we completed, I believe trustee Martin spoke on my behalf for June's meeting. So for July, really, the application for members in the community to apply is still on, it's still running. The application does close July 31st. Oh, that's right. Happy early birthday. So it does close. I do encourage, this application is for any community member in Hackensack. So you don't have to be a parent to apply. Just resident, grandparents, even business owners of Hackensack. Okay, so currently we have about 43 people who have applied so far. We will meet in August. The trustees that are part of the Community Relations Committee will meet in August, and we will choose our new members for September. So those members that are chosen will be notified at some point at the end of August for a September meeting. And that's pretty much it.
all right.
Sorry, did I talk too fast?
Oh.
I apologize. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
What's the number of people for that committee?
So, so we have a capability of 10. And I believe that does not include our student representative. But, depending on what the need is, we can also have some wiggle room to add a few more.
Okay,
Depends.
thank you.
Also, just to add, so the Community Relations Committee, what we're trying to do is make sure that every section of Hackensack is represented, so that we're not just picking people from one certain area, like not all Fairmount, all Pillars or Jackson Avenue residents. So that's going to be our goal when we meet in August.
And just a quick note of the people that have served in the past. They were fantastic, and I know that they were so like sad to have to leave. They almost staged the coup, trying not to have to leave, because they were very engaged in the work and really, you know, enjoyed what they did. So a big thank you to them for
Definitely,
their
yes.
service for sure. So hearing that we have a little new business, as the chair, I will add that in. It's not listed, but I hear that we want to discuss the calendar. So we'll do that quickly.
So I just wanted to say for January 3rd, That's a Friday. I know that in previous practice, we wouldn't do things on a Friday because it's late in the evening. It's late in the evening and certain people have I don't know if it's church, I don't know how to,
Religious commitment.
yes, thank you, religious commitment, thank you. On Friday evenings that they're not able to attend, so I don't know.
The only other option I think would be the second, which is really not, right? Because we have no choice. We have to have that for the reorg.
I think,
So the
And there's a
first is
time
not an
limit.
option, given the holiday.
What about Monday, the sixth?
No, I think you have to have it done by the fourth,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, so
There's
there's
a
a-
rule in
There's a,
place.
there's a stipulation, I think.
so
that
yeah,
the
do
problem-
we have school on January 2nd?
So,
We were sworn in on the fifth. Last year, right? What was the fourth?
Is the, so the 5th is a what,
The
Sunday?
fifth is a Sunday.
I'm not saying that.
no, that's what we had this year, right? You're saying what we had this current year, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we will,
No, we didn't do it on the 5th, we did it on the 4th.
we will take a look and figure out someone.
No,
what the
oh, no,
State regulation is, because I
I
think
didn't
there's a
hear
state
you,
regulation
that's
that
why
has
I'm
to be done by a
asking to
certain date.
clarify. We did it on the
Yes,
4th.
There is,
That's
it's
the
it's
If I
what
remember
embodied
correctly,
in
either
your
the
board
3rd or the
policies, which
4th,
I'm
but
looking
it's
at
on
right
the
now.
5th.
Yeah, we'll try to figure that out and.
It's usually
So
on
that
the
may get
3rd.
the students are back on the.
And I'm sure we're
It's
not the
usually on
only
the 3rd.
ones
second,
because
right, we'll
there's,
see what other people are doing, yeah.
right, there's other districts as well, but
But we
I'm
always do it
assuming
the
if
first week,
the,
yeah.
if students come back on the 2nd, then maybe we could also have the meeting on the 2nd or that Monday, the 6th.
Sixth.
I think the sixth is late based on the dates that are required. That's what I'm thinking.
So we'll see what they say.
Yeah, look into it.
So we're gonna let him research that and figure that part out and we'll come back to that. Any other dates that we want to talk about to see? Yes,
Just
sir?
a question, originally the September meeting of this year,
Mhm,
was on 9/18,
mhm.
and I see it's being changed to the 25th. Is there an explanation?
I think, is that the date that the superintendent has a conflict?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Um,
The only question that I have is why are we now generating a calendar through 2025 at this particular juncture? Time-wise, I don't believe this is what was done prior for last year's, and my bigger concern is as public comment has been brought up with just us doing through a 24 calendar and conflicts with dates and
Yeah.
events at schools and things like that. We've not had an opportunity to review and assuredly say approving through mid-25. So I'm just wondering
That was the.
why we're running it
This is
through, the-
yes, this-
why we're doing 2025 now.
Without looking at what's going
Yeah,
on.
no, I want to do both.
Oh,
just count.
So one of the things that we are attempting to do is create a standardized calendar throughout the entire year, so people know all at once what is happening as opposed to things popping up. And so we're asking all the schools to have their calendars done for the year. We're doing our professional development to be done for the year. So we want to create alignment across, so we have a full year council, no one's surprised with dates popping up and conflicts happening at the last minute that will shift everything. So the more upfront we are with just what the dates are, people can plan around them or talk about what needs to be changed before we get up to those dates. And then you have conflicts or people not being able to have events. So we want to do a calendar for the year across the board. So everyone can see it in one space, what's happening when,
Right?
and
So,
plan for it.
so that being said, which I love that answer, that being said, so this has been generated with these particular dates because you've now gotten feedback from each of your schools to say, these are the things we're doing on this day, but now you'll put it all together and people can eyeball it to say, that's still gonna be a problem then.
So board meetings don't necessarily interfere with our school calendars because most of the school events are during the day. But they also, you all have a pattern for the, I guess, the past couple of years to have most of your meetings on the third Wednesday anyway. So schools are kind of already aware that if they are having events, and the fact that now we're having the calendar out, they know not to schedule things that would conflict with the board meeting on those dates. So if they have to come and do performances or recognition, they'll know in advance that these dates are already locked in and they can build around the board meeting.
I would tend to agree with you, but unfortunately, we did have several public comments that were opposed to the calendar, and I'm assuming they will likely take issue with this one as well. So, okay, perfect. I love that. But thank you.
That's the thinking behind it.
Thank you.
So, to jump back to the January one, so as we look, the policy just says by the first week of January. And so that leaves some room for interpretation by the first week of January. And well, when the week starts on Wednesday, that gives you Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So
And
like,
Wednesday is a
some people-
holiday.
Right, and Wednesday is a holiday, which the district is closed. So that really gives you, Thursday and Friday, and I don't really know any board that meets on a Friday, in a meeting form, so. And I also think that that may be up to a little of interpretation, because I would assume, and this is just Scott's interpretation, that most people would interpret that the first full week of January.
I could agree with that.
And legal counsel just said that they would agree with that. And so he will do further investigation to make sure that that is gonna work. But for now, we will go with the premise that it's likely the first full week of January. And not try to cram it in that first 2 days that we can technically have a meeting, one being, so it really would leave it that Thursday, because what if we just pushed it to the regular, like a Wednesday,
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday, the Wednesday that we're like normally used to come, I mean, a Wednesday, because we're used to coming on that day, or
So that's,
do we-
so that would be January 8th.
January 8th.
Yeah, that's a Wednesday.
Elvis.
Is there a conflict with the law?
No.
With the state statute?
I'm
Is
gonna
there a
double
con-
check it. Your policy, which is a reflection of the law, says the first week of January. My interpretation is the first full
So
week
first full week of
of
January.
January, but I will double check that.
So
Okay.
he'll double check, but surely they've run into this problem before.
Okay.
So can we kind of have a consensus on that, on what day of that week? Do we want to say Tuesday or Wednesday of that week?
Makes no difference.
Do we want to stick to the Wednesday since that's what we're accustomed to at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, Wednesday. Is it all in favor of Wednesday, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Hearing none, we'll go with Wednesday for now.
Yeah, and it sounds like that's possible because this is the schedule of reorgs for different schools in New Jersey. So for example, Dumont is having theirs on January 9th, Monmouth,
Yep.
January 7th. So it's likely the first full week of January.
All right, any other comments on the calendar in our new business, little new business section here? That anybody has? Hearing none, we will move to new, board comments. We'll start with Mr. Stack.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just hope everybody's having a good summer. By the time we get to the August meeting, it means that school is a few weeks away. So everybody keep that in mind. Have a good time between now and part of August,
All right, thank you.
and get home safely tonight. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Mr. Martin?
No comment.
Thank you. Ms. Harris?
Just wanted to say, I hope everyone has a good summer. Thank you to Mrs. Marks and Mrs. Parkman for putting together the presentation. Those scores are very concerning. And I like what you said, that it does take not to just look at the high school, but as a whole, the district as a whole. It makes sense, right? Because it is all of our responsibility to make sure that those scores go up. I did want to mention, because it was brought up at the last meeting that I wasn't here, again, the term of us not being prepared, or the assumption of us not being prepared, or the assumption of people not doing their homework or research. I just wanted to bring to light and just to remind people, and I wasn't on the board when this happened, but in past practice, and some of the board members who have been here in the past, prior to everything going in the drive, board members used to receive all the agenda by paper. Items, attachments, anything that was mentioned in the agenda would be given there. Currently, we have been given the task of fishing and searching through a drive that is not only a little confusing, but it's not our job as trustees to be fishing for things in a drive. We should be given this information upfront. Everything should be easily identified. It is just so that we can be more informed versus spending time looking for information. I did have this conversation with Dr. McBride, just so that it's also an option for trustees to have when the agenda goes out. If you want to pick up a copy by paper, it should be available for all of us. Let me see. And that's pretty much it. It's just more of everyone being prepared, and the way we can be prepared is by allowing us to have all the information we need to make an informed decision. That's all that I ask. And that's pretty much it. I hope everyone enjoys their summer, go on vacation, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in August. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Harris. Ms. Somerville?
Good night, everyone. So first and foremost, I just want to say, Dr. McBride, honestly, thank you for the opportunity for attending the Unbound education last week. My dad is ill, so wearing a mask, just got back just to be on the safe side. No one from the team was sick. Stop it. So anyhow, it was a phenomenal experience, and the team that you sent were absolutely positively phenomenal. I am saying that I am impressed by these guys. We had some really long days. I mean, it started at roughly about 6:30 in the morning, and it didn't end until about 6 o'clock in the evening. And then there was the debrief sessions that you kind of needed to go to. But it was really and truly a phenomenal experience. I really learned a lot. These guys should be commended. They put in some really hard work in the different segments. The keynote speakers that we had on the 4 mornings that we had keynote speakers were absolutely exceptional. And like Ms. Mark said, right, part of the thing about Unbound education was getting back to talking about where we are supposed to put the focus, and that the focus is supposed to go back on the students, right? There's a lot packed in there, and there was a lot talked about teacher education, the unstart of teaching, how it materialized. But at the end of the day, it says the data drives what us as school districts are supposed to be doing for our kids. And that the data is important, because without the data, you cannot make the necessary informed decisions that you need to make sure that you're allocating not only your resource, but your funding, but everything else that comes along with it, right? And while we do understand that our teachers also have social emotional issues that they're dealing with, at the end of the day, teaching is a profession. It is a very noble profession. It is a profession, and the profession is to focus on the children. So we need to start bringing everything back to what the original, goal is, and to make sure that we have an educated population at the end of the day. So again, it was, I'm grateful. Lizette, sorry you broke your leg and you couldn't make it, and I got to stand in, but it was honestly, it was a phenomenal experience. So I thank the team for making me feel welcome, taking me along, taking me to the classes, making sure that I understood, what was happening. So again, much appreciation to that group. It was a phenomenal experience.
All right, thank you. Mr. Powell?
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, board members, for what you do. Enjoy your summer. Let it go by, spend time with your friends, family. Be brief, unwind, enjoy. Family is precious, enjoy them all. And I'll see you in August. Be safe.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Carroll? Oh, Mr. Pringle, my bad.
What Lance said, good night.
All right, Mr. Carroll.
Good evening, everyone. I wasn't here last month, so I'd like to say congratulations to all our graduates and to all the teachers and staff, central office, and everyone for your continued dedication and good job this year. That's about it. Everyone have a happy and safe summer.
Thank you.
Try to stay cool as much as possible. And good night.
All right. Put her out.
Hi, everybody. I would really like to give a big shout out to all of our students that I have had the pleasure of seeing almost on a daily basis who are participating in sports over the summer, getting their training in. I love seeing our fields occupied with these kids, and they are there early and they are there late. And it has been some grueling weather and they are still doing the work. And I really do enjoy it. I've always said that our fields for our students are truly a second home. And they know it and they love being there, and for all the work that they're doing, I really love it and appreciate it. Also to our summer students. So Hackensack, you know, I think it's the second year in a row, has offered our students certain programs that allow them to take classes that they might not otherwise be able to take throughout the school year because it maybe doesn't fit in their schedule. And these aren't just classes for students who maybe potentially failed a class. It's a class that you can take because you can't fit art, but you needed to graduate. It's a class that you can take because you want to take advanced bio, but you also want to fit some other class in your schedule. And those kids get here every morning right now for the month. And, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning, this school is hustling and bustling with staff and administration and students that are actually enjoying what they're doing. It is not a punishment. My daughter was very opposed to the fact that she had to take the art class, and she got there the first day and came home and was like, oh my God, there's so many students there and they didn't fail. They're here because they can't fit it and they want to. So I love it. And I love seeing these kids just put in the work and the time. And I know it's a summer, so I hope that you are also enjoying your summer. Jossie, we will get to the beach at some point, and everybody just continue to enjoy, be safe. And, you know, the good work continues for the district staff and this board. And we will be back in August. So thank you and have a great night.
Thank you for sticking with us as we work through some of our important details that we need to get done. Thank you, Ms. Marks, for providing that report for us. And I know that the scores aren't always what we want. But I will tell you, it gives us a goal that we will work harder and harder and harder to figure out and achieve. I believe in the students. Well, I believe in the students first of this district, in that we will absolutely achieve what needs to be achieved, and that we will excel in this district because they are excellent students. And I believe in the staff and the administrators of this district, that they will push them and pull them and nudge them and all the things that need to happen for each student, because each student is an individual, and each student needs it a little different. You know, sometimes it's a push, a pull, a nudge, a hug, whatever it is that they might need to get them where they need to go. And I did not go to the Unbound thing, but I do know that your comment and Mr. Gaines' comments are accurate, that it is not the high school's responsibility It is not the middle school and high school, or even just the elementary through the high school. It is the parents. It is the neighbors. It is everybody's, including this board's, to make sure that we are doing our best to provide the best for the best, which is our kids. And so, we will continue to work to make sure that we can provide everything that our students and staff need so that they can provide the best, because we are all responsible. And I will say, it is summertime. Do something fun. Enjoy something. And I encourage our staff and administrators, all sitting out there, paraprofessionals, Miss Story, go do something fun. And so thank you all for participating with us tonight, and can I have a motion to adjourn? All those in favor say aye. I'm sure there are none that oppose. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Don't forget to turn in your folders.